Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Average Joe Dividends YouTube channel. In this video, this is my June 2025 budget video. What I do is I go over my expenses, income, and net worth. And I'm not one to assign certain dollar amounts for each category, then try to stick within those budget constraints. Instead, what I do is I try to remain pretty frugal, yet, not cheap on everything. You have to spend some money on some things. And I'll go over my expenses here and kind of show you how I do it. And I track every single expenditure that I have, and I put it down into Google Docs, this Google Sheet here, and I'll leave a link below. You're welcome to use it for your own spend tracking. You can see what I do is I put the date, I list the business, I put the amount, and then I categorize it. And the category is, you'll see a neat little pie graph of my spending, so you can see it kind of, an image of the spending, so to speak. And of course, what I'm spending money on is going to be completely different than what you're spending money on. We all have different obligations, and we have different likes and things that bring us happiness. Things I may spend more money on may be a complete waste of money to you, and vice versa. I don't judge that, but our expenses are pretty much a result of our choices, and you can choose in your life, how you live it, to control your expenses. And so I'm not going to go through everything one by one, but I have, different expenses. Like, I have a couple of pets. I have 2 dogs right now, so you can see like dog food in there. I enjoy going out to restaurants, especially when my son is in town. He is a college student, but he's in town right now, so I'm able to go out to eat with him more often. So my restaurant spend is up a little bit higher this month. And like some little things here, like I like to detail, my cars and clean them up. So I spend a little bit of money on some products here. But you can see what the major hit is every month for me, which is my mortgage. And I pay a little bit more. It's right, my mortgage actually, with the taxes and insurance, it's about $18.25 per month. So I do is I just kind of round it up to 2,000. So I'm paying a little bit more than the principal, but I'm getting really close to my taxable brokerage account over at Vanguard. The taxable portion is getting really close to where if I sold it, I could just pay off my house and have extra for some other things I like to do around the house, like put in a fence because of the 2 dogs. So I'm hoping to really wipe out this expense. Probably about $1,500 of it would go away, but I'd still have that taxes and insurance. And this expense, we'll see it. Hopefully this goes away next year when my son graduates. I mean, these are big hits. I mean, this potentially went with the paying off the home, my son graduating. This is going to save me. Of course, again, I'll still have the $500 for the insurance and the property taxes for my home, but I'm really going to reduce my expenses big time when I have the house paid off and my son graduates from college. So there's another thing I had in here. I got wheel dollies, like for my car. I have an extended garage, but it's not it's a 2-car cross, but it goes really deep. So if I could just turn a car side or the other, like horizontally, I could easily fit in 3 cars. So that's my plan. When the weather gets colder, I'm gonna flip that Mustang horizontally in the garage and use those wheel dollies. So that was kind of a one-time expense in here. And then here's my 6 months of insurance, and this will also go down as my son graduates from college because I won't have to pay for his insurance. So these 3 things will really be lower in the future. So we'll look at the total for my expenses was quite high for June. And again, that was because of my son had higher the normal expenses. I bought some little things like the wheel dollies, and then what else? The detailing stuff here. and going out to eat, and then the insurance, of course, hitting in June. Those are really the major things that pushed me over the top. So look at kind of the expenses kind of donut here of what hit me. And of course, housing was the major hit right here to expenses. Then insurance, because I pay it every 6 months. It's a lot cheaper that way. I could pay it monthly, but it's a lot more. So when you have extra money, you're able to pay things up front. Things are gonna cost you less in life. And we'll see what else. Miscellaneous, of course, that's my son's expenses. And then restaurant was pretty high in here. And other things are pretty low, like, well, transportation, I put those wheel dollies, that was in there. But utilities, things like that, my entertainment is not that high, but food it was pretty high with, the restaurant around at the 400, and then we're around the groceries at 600. That's $1,000 for food expenses, which was very high for June. But let's go. We're going to go over now the income side of this. When I was younger, really, I only had W-2 income in there, and that's all I had to rely on. Maybe a little bit of savings account interest, but I'll go over these. I'm not going to probably go into detail on each of these, but you can see the date that I got it and what it was, from Capital One savings. I usually keep about 2 months of spending over there at Capital One, kind of a little bit of a buffer, and that is what I get for the interest. And then what I do is I'll move things from the savings to the checking when I pay bills, like to pay the credit card, the mortgage. I'll just move that amount over there and then let it get eaten up over the checking account, and I don't really leave anything over there. So you can see there's only 2 cents of interest, and the interest rate's a lot higher in the savings, so I only move over there with those dollars are going to die over there, so to speak, and pay those bills. And then over at M1, I have about $10,000 ish to deploy to invest in like dividend paying stocks. And that, you can see that interest rate there. And then every month I'm receiving dividends. So this is income, but what I'm doing with all these dividends is I'm reinvesting these dividends. I'm not taking them as cash, except for a couple of them over at Vanguard. And I don't think any of those hit this month. They will next month, so I will mention that. But these dividends, they are not taken as cash, being reinvested. So for example, Black Hills, this is a quarterly paying dividend stock. You can see 27.37 I received. So 3 months later, in early September, I will be receiving more than this because I took that 27.37 and bought more Black Hills Energy stock. So that next dividend payment is going to be even higher. Same with Kroger and all these. You can see a lot of these are household names like Aflac. Usually this is on this side if you're buying like supplemental insurance. But I think Aflac is a good company to invest in. Instead, they're paying me a dividend. I'm putting things in here like cashback rewards, and I use my credit card. I was able to offset some of my expenses over here of $25. It's a 2% cashback credit card that I use. And then here's Synchrony interest. This is a pretty substantial cash reserve. I called it my 1-year emergency fund, but it would probably, if I was taking the dividends and things like that, it would be more like a 2-year at least emergency fund. And you can see the interest off of there. 3.8% interest earning over at Synchrony. It's about $51,000 just sitting over there in case something were to happen, emergency, I couldn't work, something would happen where I had to come up with a lot of money all at once. But I haven't in my life had any major emergencies that have really gone over maybe a couple $1,000s. But let me know in the comments below, like, what do you think is what's the most major emergency you've had of like where you've had to outlay cash for something that you didn't know about. And then here's more dividends here, Yum, Amgen, Southern Company, Exxon. Usually this is over here, buying gas. But now we have an energy company paying me money. I also do surveys over at Swagbucks while I'm listening to YouTube videos, things like that every morning. I'm doing surveys. I'm earning money. I'll leave a link below, and you can check them out, and it's legit. When I get enough money, like $25, I will either do it for Amazon gift cards, and they'll have like a sale every month. Like Amazon, you can take your $25. If you have $25, you only need $22 in swag bucks to get the $25 gift card. Or if you just want cash, you can get PayPal send you cash. So sometimes I do the Amazon gift card every month for $22 and get a $25 gift card, or I just get $25 cash. So I put that over here, and that was the first payment of surveys. And a lot of times it'll be between $50 and $75 I'm making per month just in the morning listening to YouTube videos and making extra cash, and it offsets my spending at Amazon, really. So see, like Microsoft, Prudential, more dividends rolling in. And then here's my net W-2 paycheck, and this is minus, my insurance, taxes, 401k. I contribute to my 401k up to the employer match right now. And I'm kind of taking my foot off the accelerator a little bit with the 401k, because right now with IRAs, 401ks, I have over $1 million, right about 1.1 million just in that. So I've kind of taken my foot off the accelerator to kind of get more cash to pay off the house, really, and things like that, and live a good life too. So, and here's more dividends. You can see all these, and this is most of these dividends. Well, actually, I think all of these in this month are from the M1 taxable brokerage right here, that brokerage account and that line item. This is where all these dividends are coming from, like McDonald's right there, Hershey's, Home Depot, things. Even if I find a penny on the ground, I'll utilize it over through a self checkout at Walmart, and it'll take a penny off of my bill. So I mean, I don't even pass by those pennies. I count all that. And so you see more dividends. Okay, this is a Vanguard dividend where I did take this one in cash. And the reason for that is it's helps my cash position, and it's part of the taxable Vanguard brokerage account that I'm going to likely sell when it gets to $205,000. Right now it's at 197, and once it gets to that magic number, like I said, I'll be paying off my house with that and have a lot left over for buying a fence and some other things that I have that I want to do before retirement. So. But like this big dividend right here, which is from Schwab's SCHD, this was reinvested. And this $991 that came from my M1 taxable brokerage account. So I took that. I bought more shares, of these dividend paying companies. So it just makes these go up. And look, this is a monthly pair. BlackRock Science and Technology Trust, otherwise known as BST. I get paid at least this every month. It keeps going up because I reinvest the dividends. Sometimes it goes back into BST, and sometimes it goes like into the other companies and helps boost those. But I at least receive this. It's past 527 now because I put in a little bit more into it. But usually every month that is going up as well. See, like Pepsi, more dividends here, and then surveys again. So Swagbucks paid me another $25. So let's go over those. I've totaled up. Like here's my net W-2 income. Here's all the dividends counted up. Look at that, $2,177.64 in money that just paid out. That is truly passive income. So is interest from my cash. So these two things paid a total of over $2,400, just my dividends and interest. You add in the surveys. I sold something on Facebook. No YouTube income. But I guess you could say the bad news is I spent more than my W-2 income. But, that's okay because look at all the dividends I received. So, technically I still, pushed the needle forward in, progress. It's a little bit better when I include the gap with interest, surveys, Facebook, and YouTube. It's still minus 258, but you look at all, I did take cash like for this, the 308, so that makes that positive right there. So I guess you could say that's kind of the bad news is I had a high expense month. But looking forward into July, it's not going to be that way because I won't have as big as expenses. I'm not going to be buying the wheel dollies. I don't have to pay Progressive for another 6 months. Hopefully, my son's expenses are going to be a little bit lower. It looks like the restaurants, I'm not going to have as many restaurant visits going on in July, so it's going to be lower. It's going to be probably around $4,500, and I will have a gap. And I also received a raise from my job. I got a 4% bump, so it's going to help with that W2 gap. It's going to make up for the 566 and more. So sometimes that happens. You're not going to have that gap, but if you have this happen month over month over month, chances are what you're doing is you're racking up credit card debt. In my case, though, I didn't have to do that because I have plenty of cash to survive this short-term little storm that's going on. So let's go over my net worth here real quick, and then we'll compare the changes from from last month to last year, 2 years ago, and 3 years ago. And that is where it is just crazy to see the progress that I've made. And you can see by my W2 income, I'm not a very high earner. I make a decent living in the Midwest, but I'm not a very high earner. And I'm a single guy, so this net worth, this is just me. This is not a couple, so this is my own net worth. So we'll go over what these are. So over at Vanguard, I have an IRA, and I have a taxable brokerage account, and I'll show you kind of how that breaks out with that 500K over on this sheet, my total net worth, and it's represented right here. And you can see there's the IRA. I have a traditional and a Roth, and here's the taxable portion. I told you I was thinking about selling this. Right now it's at 198.2, and once that gets to 205, I really would like to sell this, wipe out the mortgage, and then I'll have a lot more to even invest in, and probably more into the dividend portfolio to generate more cash flow. So, but you can see I am backed up by a huge IRA over here at M1 that's at 742K, and then the IRA is over here at 309K, and then here is my 401K right now at 111K right now. So I think I'm at least coast fire. I really don't have to save much more or anything for a very, very comfortable retirement. So over at M1, we went over the IRA, and the numbers are higher now. This is the close of June, so I showed you the live numbers of July's, and we've moved up. And here is the close of my 401k. You can see it closed at 109.6, and it's at 111.8. So you can see just how July is looking right now. So here's my 1 year emergency fund. I would call this probably 2 if I really had an emergency where I couldn't work anymore, because I would start drawing all those dividends that are happening over here, and I would have to use a lot less of this to live on. Here I like to keep no more than $10,000 of Capital One. That's like my 2-month at least cash cushion over there. And then here's my M1 taxable brokerage account. This is where all these dividends are coming from, with the exception of VXUS, which is an international stock. It's a ETF over at Vanguard. And I'm sure you guys are familiar with all those dividends that are paying over here. And these are the June payers. You can see like Black Hills, who went into that one. And here's the next dividend. It's going to be $28.49. And I'll just show you where it was over here. So $27.37 was what it paid in June. So in September, if I don't buy any more shares, it's going to pay $28.49. So you can see how my dividends are they're going up and up and up. And I want these dividends to be paying all of my expenses eventually. That is the plan. So, and here's M1 savings, and the reason I keep 10 grand over there is to deploy that to buy more shares of those dividend paying stocks that we just saw. And M1 has 4% right now with their savings account, and Synchrony is 3.8, but I think not that M1 is not safe. I like Synchrony, just to keep most of the money over there. And then here is my home equity as the final line of my net worth. And we'll scroll down, we'll get a total, and this is an all-time high for my net worth. And this is after an event where I essentially had $25,000 just evaporated with buying a fun car, a second car. I bought a Mustang GT, a used one, a 2019 Mustang GT, all paid for cash. And even with that hit, if I wouldn't have bought it, you could have added about 25,000. That was buying the car, the additional insurance I had to put into it, and the taxes, titling, all that nonsense. So right about 25K for all that. But still, despite that, still all-time highs. And let's look at the comparison between just a month ago, and I added $67,900 to my net worth in just 1 month. And that was even having this happen with my W2 gap being negative still. And that was because the stock market rebounded. Now, I don't have this happen every month. I'm going to go back and I'll show you that I have good months and bad months. And even in May, it was an even better month. I went up almost 100 grand, but there's some bad ones. But look at April, I went down 58 grand. Look at March, I went down 73 grand. So there were some good months and some bad months. You can see a string of these. February, March, April there, down 11,000 there. We'll go to January, and that was up 47 from December. We'll go to December. We'll see. I don't want to do all these. And so December was not good, down 52K. And this is the stock market. And then it was up 85K from October to November. So we'll go back. But just to show you the month to month, it really varies. But look at the change over a year. $199,500 in a year change. But look at this. Look at my net worth change from 2 years, plus $476,000. And then look at the 3-year change, over $800,000. And if you're new to this channel and don't know what I'm invested in, you ask, how did that happen? And I'll explain it. It is what I'm invested in, and it's nothing sexy or high risk at all. It's very boring, and I am invested in Vanguard ETFs. Like, just look it up. Like, VTI, it's just a total stock market index. VOO, it's a Vanguard S&P 500 index. You can see I'm invested. VTSAX is the mutual fund version of VTI, so it's essentially the same thing. I'm an international total stock market ETF. These are boring funds that have just produced results decade after decade. You're not going to get rich quick, but if you buy these funds, at least for me, I've bought these funds, with every paycheck. Year in, year out, I've stayed the course. I haven't panic sold anything, and this is just the result of it. There's more over here. There's more VOO, VTI, SCHD. It's the Charles Schwab, kind of a dividend generating. It's a well diversified ETF, but it's more in trying to generate more dividend income. And this is Vanguard's version of it, is VYM, and I have VYM in a couple places as well. But if you're looking for more growth, I would look at like a VTI VOO, and then you can also complement it with an SCHD for more income. I've done it with even more income for like covered call options with BST. But of course, what I'm invested in is not investment advice, but there's nothing crazy in here. There's no crypto, there's no Bitcoin in here, nothing. Just what happens is when the stock market does its thing and goes up over time, this is what happens when you have enough assets. It's just, of course, the inverse is true. When we have a stock market crash, you will see big drops as well. But over time, though, the total stock market has, since it's been, the tracking, the over the last 100 years, the S&P has gone up 10% on average. That doesn't mean every year that if you're invested in VU or VTI that it's going to go up 10%, 10%, 10%. You're going to have years where you're down 15, 20%, and then up 5%, and then flat, and then up 25%, and then down 10%. It's going to be all over the place, but when you average it out, it's going to be about 10%. That's not including inflation, though. When you include inflation, you could probably call it more 7%, right around there if you want to be more conservative. But that is why this is happening. There's no magic to it. And sorry to kind of give a long explanation to it, but that's what's going on there. So, and I put in here, I didn't go over this, but here's just some little tips and tricks and just kind of some things, to glean from, from this. And with my credit cards, I try to put everything on a 2% cash back credit card. And we saw one of those bonuses in here. Here it is right here. The $25 happened to hit in June. Sometimes I get more on that per month. I use prepaid wireless. I use Mint Mobile. It's about $20 a month. And so every December you'll see about $200 hit. And I'll leave a link below. It's an affiliate link if you want to sign up for Mint. And it gives me a little bit of credit. And I do surveys at Swagbucks. You can see the $50 there. And there's some months I get 75, but it's usually 50 is at least what I get. And then here's the dividends that paid me $2,177. And here's savings account interest. And just to let you know, I have paid off cars now, and no student loans or credit card debt. And that's what really helps to build this up, because every month I've got extra money to contribute to my taxable brokerage account, as well as also contributing to my 401k. And then also just my net worth, as right now it's 1.8 million. And just as the stock market takes those swings, if it goes up 5%, 5% of 1.8 million is a pretty big number. And that's why you see these huge swings here. So that's all I had to show you guys for this video, and I hope this encourages you guys to track your expenses, track your income, track your net worth every single month. It doesn't take very long at all to do this, and this will give you an idea of like, hey, here's where I'm bleeding money, and that may be okay too, but you want to make sure that most months you do have that gap, so you have money to invest and grow that net worth. So thanks for sticking to the end of the video. If you get value from the video, please click the like button. Also subscribe to this channel. And I think tomorrow, if time permits, for me on Saturday, Sunday, I'll be finally doing a Vanguard video. I'll go over those investments and kind of show you, like, track those over time. So it'll be right here, all these right here, and show you kind of my gains over time, pretty much from like 2017 to the present. And I'll talk more about my plans of probably selling this when this gets to the 205 mark. So thanks again, everyone. I hope everyone has